Hi, and welcome to Better Boating in Connecticut. I'm your host, Wendy Flynn, and today joining me is Pete Francis, our Director of Boating, and an animal rescuer, Janelle, from Mystic Aquarium. We are at the Mystic Aquarium today, where we do have a safe boating display. It's been here for a couple of years, and it has some safe boating information, as well as some remote control boats that you can drive. But we're going to focus a little bit more today about animal rescues that happen here at Mystic Aquarium. And we're going to switch a little bit over here to Janelle. Janelle, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at the aquarium as an animal rescuer and and how long you've been here?
Yeah, so I've been at Mystic Aquarium in my current role as the manager of the animal rescue program for 12 years now. And the role as a manager can be very complicated. So I not only oversee our rehab clinic, which we're standing next to right now, but I also oversee our field responses. We respond to both Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Fishers Island, New York. And then I also am involved with budget management and writing grants and things of that nature.
All right, so you're the one of the ones that will go out to the beach if there's a stranded animal, a turtle, a dolphin, if they do come in this far or anything like that. So you'll go out to the beach and help rescue them?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only myself and my other staff, but we have a very large group of volunteers and first responders. We call them first responders. There's about 300 of them in our entire coverage area. So we rely on them to go out to the beach initially and report back to us as staff on what their findings are.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
All right, so globally, what are some of the marine mammals that are vulnerable to boat strikes?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So really any marine mammal species that is going to be swimming very slowly on the surface of the water and spend a bulk of their time there. So your larger whale species, even your small whales like minke whales, and then your sea turtles. Those are the animals that we tend to see the most boating strikes and incidents with.
And what about here in Long Island Sound? What are some of the animals that you see?
So in Long Island Sound, it really varies by the season. So depending on the time of the year, starting up in July, going into the fall months, we'll see a lot of sea turtles tucking into the Sound. Some as far south as the Bridgeport, Stamford area. And those are not only reports free swimming animals, but those are also stranded animals that have landed on the beach, either alive or dead. So we do dead animal response as well. So sea turtles start up in July, go into the fall. Whales tend to be more in the fall months for us to see them. They do periodically tuck into the Sound, but on most occasions, fortunately, they're more on the ocean side. But again, when they do tuck into that Sound, it's something to be aware of.
And how many rescues a year would you say that the Mystic Aquarium handles?
From a rescue standpoint, we can maybe see 30 to 40 animals a year. But our rehabilitation clinic also brings in animals from other rescue facilities, some of our neighbors in Massachusetts and Maine, when they don't have rehab space. So from our rescues out on our own beaches, it's a fairly small number. But throughout the year, our rehab clinic is busy every single month because we're helping other organizations nearby.
For animal rescuing, is there any animal that gets hit by a boat or anything like that in Long Island Sound or ends up on the beach stranded? Will you turn any animal away or will you accept any animal?
Yeah, so for our program, we respond and are responsible for and permitted to respond to marine mammals and sea turtles, again, both live and dead. So any species outside of that, we're not able to handle and do rehabilitation for. Cetaceans, so your dolphins, porpoises, your whale species, those are very much a case-by-case basis for us with regards to rehab. Our rehab clinic, which again we're standing next to, really can only maintain rehabilitation space for seals. But there's another couple pools on campus that we could rehabilitate a dolphin, for instance, if needed. Large whales, nobody really has space for large whales. So those are really challenging. Those ones we have to really deal with in the field.
Okay, great. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the causes of propeller strikes and how to avoid them. We'll be right back.
We love it.
It's so much fun!
It's exciting.
Esto es vida.
Why do I have to wear a life jacket?
We wear it to be safe.
I've got mine on.
We're teaching our kids about safe boating.
Cogí un pescado así de grande.
We all love this life.
Wear it and love the life. This message brought to you by the National Safe Boating Council.
Hi, we're back with Better Boating in Connecticut to talk about marine mammal strikes.
Janelle, can you talk a little bit about what are some of the causes of mammal strikes in Long Island Sound?
Yeah, so marine mammals and sea turtles as well. Both can get struck by vessels out on the water. And some of those causes can be just the fact that folks aren't aware of the laws protecting these animals. The Marine Mammal Protection Act, the Endangered Species Act. So the Marine Mammal Protection Act in general focuses on a 100 feet distance from your vessel to the animal. And in addition, if you see an animal cutting your engine, either turning it off entirely or putting your vessel in neutral, is very helpful. You really don't want to approach the animal with your vessel. You just kind of want to stop yourself, stay where you are, let the animal go where it's going to go on its own accord.
Right. And how can boaters best avoid them, the animal strikes?
Yeah, so really being aware of your surroundings. I mean, when you're out there on a vessel, you're aware of where other vessels are, so it's really important to also be aware of if there's animals in the area as well. And of course, it's very hard to see, right, especially if it's a really choppy day out on the water, but really pay attention to your surroundings at all times. And like I said, if you see an animal that's really close to your vessel, just cut that engine as quick as you can.
You had mentioned before a little bit about the Marine Mammal Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act. How do those laws, what do they do best to help protect the animals in Long Island Sound?
That's a really good question. So the idea with both of those laws out there, and they're both federal laws, is that they're there to protect the animals and to make folks aware of the fact that some of these species are listed species. So some of them are going to be listed endangered, some threatened, but even really, regardless of them being listed, they still need to be protected, and making folks aware of the fact that we have these protections for these great animals.
Great. And what are some treatments that you have for animal strikes?
So if we do have an animal that comes into our rehab clinic that apparently has been struck by a vessel, we work very closely with our veterinary team, with all animals, but with those animals in particular, there's certain medications we can treat them with. Typically those are going to be intravenous medications because we might have some concerns that their blood has become infected in some way. We also do a lot of wound care with them. So cleaning of the wound, debriding the wound, trying to get all the really nasty, yucky tissue off so the wound can heal very cleanly. And then medications. So pretty much every patient that comes into a rehab clinic is going to get some sort of medications. An animal that's been potentially struck by a vessel is probably going to be on a fair amount of meds.
Great. Thank you.
And what about just animals that aren't hit by vessels? What if they're somebody just spots a turtle, floating in the water or anything like that? Do you get notified about that a lot of times?
Sure, yeah. So our responsibility is not only to those animals that are stranded, so the live that come into rehab get rescued, or the dead animals on the beaches, but it's also to the healthy animals. So it's really good for us to be aware of any animal, marine mammal or sea turtle, that's being seen out in the waters or on our beaches. We consider them sighted animals, so we'll do our response with our volunteers. If they appear to be very healthy, then we'll just continue to monitor them for a period of time and wait for them to go back into the water on their own. If they're already in the water, kind of swim off and move on. So we definitely have quite a number of sighted animal reports as well, and those are really useful for us in our program.
Sounds like you guys are really busy with that all summer, all year round?
Yes, absolutely, all year round, yeah.
Great.
And are there any other aquariums? We have one other aquarium in Connecticut. Do you collaborate with them often to about animal strandings or sightings or anything, any animal that's been struck?
Yeah, absolutely. So working with marine mammals, sea turtles, any wildlife in general, it takes a lot of work. We're the responding agency again for Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Fishers Island, New York, which means we have special permits through NOAA fisheries to do our responses. But we do rely on our neighbors and our partners. The Norwalk Aquarium, some of their staff members are first responders in our program. So when we get reports, we can contact them to respond for us. We have some colleagues out on Long Island, the Atlantic Marine Conservation Society. They do stranding response in that area, but on occasion, if we have a large whale strand, they'll come over and assist us, and we'll do the same with them. So collaboration is really key. We collaborate with you guys quite often as well, and then Rhode Island DEM also.
And if anyone wanted to become a volunteer to assist with the animal rescue, stranding, or anything like that, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so the best place to keep your eye on is our website, which is mysticaquarium.org. On there, we will start to post, usually in the next couple months, our upcoming fall first responder classes. So we teach about 8 to 10 first responder classes. They're 2-hour-long classes. You have to be 18 years of age or older. And those classes are taught throughout our coverage area. So we've taught some classes at Norwalk Aquarium before, speaking of the collaboration. And then we go all the way out to Block Island. We go out on Fishers Island. So we try to hit throughout our entire coverage area to accommodate as many people as we can.
Great. Well, Pete, do you have any other questions, or we think we're good?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, Janelle, thank you very much for joining us. And we hope everyone is safe out there, and if you see any marine mammals or sea turtles, please keep your distance and let us know if you see anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, before we go, we'd like to thank Mystic Aquarium for having us today and teaching us a lot about whales and marine mammals and other animals that are out in Long Island Sound that you could have a potential interaction with. Since 2015, Long Island Sound has seen a lot of humpback whales back in our waters. We believe this is because of the better water quality and more bait fish in Long Island Sound. In light of this, we want to make sure that the boaters are safe when they're out there and interacting potentially with whales, some of the other marine mammals, and turtles. So it's really important to make sure that you follow the rules that we learned today. Kill your engines, stay back 100 feet from the marine mammals, and always be vigilant when you're on the water to pay attention for these animals and make sure that there's no impact. And we're here with the Connecticut Boating Division, and we're always making sure that you're out there being safe, and always wear your life jacket.